Well, I saw Moana 2. I remember when this was first announced, earlier this year, which is not normal for an animated movie at all. Yeah, this is actually a retooled Disney Plus series that got Frankenstein into a cinematic feature, because I guess Disney was so upset that Wish didn't make any money that they needed a big hit. As a result, this is the first Disney animated movie to not be animated in-house. Instead, it was done by the Vancouver studio, presumably for cheaper than any other modern Disney theatrical animated movie. And considering how they had to upgrade the animation to the standards of a theatrical film, I can only imagine this led to a lot of crunching the animators to get it out in time. There isn't any proof that this happens yet, but considering how often it happens with other animated movies that, in theory, should be produced the normal way, I would be genuinely shocked if crunch didn't happen on a movie with this tight of a production time. I'm honestly worried about the future of Disney Animation Studios if this movie's successful, which, let's be honest, it will be. Recently it was reported that Moana is the most watched Disney movie ever on streaming, so it would be stupid to assume that a sequel wouldn't bring in the big bucks. This was a very smart decision for the Disney executives, even if it comes at the expense of their loyal, hardworking animators. If they can get a rushed, lower budget animated sequel to make $1 billion, then what incentive do they have to keep producing animated movies in-house? Especially when the last two in-house animated movies famously flopped. Well, okay, Wish famously flopped. Strange World flopped, but nobody even noticed. But that's worse, right? You do realize that's worse. Basically what I'm trying to say is don't see Moana 2 in theaters. I know me saying that isn't gonna change anything about its box office, but I don't want this movie's production practices to be normalized. They will anyway, but what are you gonna do? The good news is the movie was pretty mid, so it's not like you're missing anything. The story is certainly 3 episodes of a TV show stapled together, just like the good old days. Welcome back, Atlantis Milo's Return. Okay, it's not that bad. They do kinda tie everything together into one cohesive story. But the pacing is pretty wonky, and you can very much tell where the episodes start and end. This is the one where they meet the Kakamora. This is the one where they go to the clam underworld. This is the one where they fight the purple electric monster. It makes it so Moana and Maui don't actually reunite until over halfway through the movie, so you don't really get that great chemistry between them too much. Instead, Moana has 3 new friends, and they're all kinda one-note and boring. The one guy likes Maui and likes drawing legends. The girl is smart and fiddles with the canoe. The old guy is grumpy. The friends don't really add anything outside of the one artist guy translating a Kakamora drawing, and then that's it. And Moana has no personal struggle to go through in this. It's just, can I sail to this dangerous island again? All that heavy self-doubt she had to contend with in the first movie isn't really there anymore until the plot decides it needs to be, so Maui can sing a mediocre song about it. Oh yeah, the songs are pretty uniformly mediocre, by the way. They all kind of run the gambit of fine but forgettable. I didn't notice any atrocious Wish-level lyrics, but also I can't hum any of them. The loss of Lin-Manuel Miranda is sorely felt here. And yet so many of these songs try and emulate his, only to fail at it. Not just the fast rapping and quote-unquote clever wordplay. It's they literally feel like reworkings of every song from the previous movie. The opening song, it just feels like Where You Are Again. The I Want song, it's kinda just How Far I'll Go Again. She literally climbs up the same steps. Why am I not just watching the first movie? Maui's song is Like You're Welcome Again. The visuals are pretty cute, but that's about it. It's not great. I think the only song that was half decent was sung by a new character. It was fun adjacent. But also all the swirling colors throughout the sequence just made it feel like the poor man's shiny. And do I look like someone who would settle for the poor man's shiny? Not to get into spoilers or anything, but this new Bat Lady character was very disappointing. I thought what they did with her was just really lame. And it's not even a cool twist, it's just kind of, I don't know, it just happens. Things just happen in this movie. They don't really flow together. They don't really leave an impact on you. The editing is very, very choppy. Like, there was one scene where you see Moana's grandma surfing towards her as the Ray, and then it cuts to Moana's reaction, and then it cuts back as she's already in her human form. It just happens so quick and leaves no impact. And that applies to like 20 or 30 different moments in this film. I counted, roughly. And yeah, the animation is not great. They dressed it up with similar textures to the original to make it look presentable, but then if you look at it in motion, nothing is as fluid or expressive as it is in the first movie. There are characters in the background whose faces look stiff and unsettling. The main characters' movement and faces are noticeably more rigid. I was not impressed by a single shot of the water in this movie, which if you know me, you know that's very important to me. I take amazing looking water very seriously, but the ocean looks so boring in this. Oh, and the character of the ocean, that sentient wave, it barely shows up. Probably because they didn't have the budget to animate something so complex, because this wasn't supposed to be in theaters. This would have been a perfectly fine, cute little Disney Plus series. But nothing about it holds up to the scrutiny of a theatrical release. Not even the writing, it's just really bland. The new characters are so forgettable, like I said, and Moana and Maui are just way less interesting now that they don't have anything going on internal struggle-wise. There were a bunch of kids in the theater, and the only time I ever heard any of them laugh was when the chicken screamed. Me personally, I chuckled one time when the old guy used a cabbage like a paper bag to breathe into. That's it. That's the only thing I found funny in this. I guess I can kinda give the movie credit for its climax. It made me think, hey, that's pretty neat. That does some kind of fascinating things. They walk back on one of those fascinating things as expected, and the other one I'm not even clear on what it means. Like, something happens to Moana and I couldn't even tell you what. They don't explain it at all. Even so, the danger in the final sequence really woke me up out of my coma, and there's a pretty cool moment afterwards. Is it worth seeing the movie for? No! The truth of the matter is, I'm gonna forget everything that happened to Moana 2 by tomorrow. I said that in my Letterboxd review of Wish a year ago, and obviously that didn't age well because Wish and its awful lyrics and script became the internet's punching bag for a while there. But I'm pretty confident that statement's gonna hold true for this one. It's like nothing. It's about nothing. You just want to see Moana and Maui sail across the ocean again and fight stuff? Here you go. A couple cute new creature designs, they expand on a bit of the lore and introduce an interesting pantheon of gods that can come into play in Moana 3. Because yeah, they're definitely making that. This movie has the most overtly Marvel-esque mid-credits tease I've ever seen in an animated movie. And like, I'm not opposed to more Moana, but it has to be done by people who really know what they're doing. I mentioned that the loss of Lin-Manuel Miranda in the song department is felt, but the same is absolutely true for the legendary Ron Clements and John Musker, who directed the first film. Surprisingly, if you try and replace the directors of The Little Mermaid and Aladdin when making a sequel to one of their movies, you get something on the same level as The Little Mermaid 2 and Aladdin 2 Return of Jafar. I know, what a concept. Welcome back, Disney direct-to-DVD sequels, 5 out of 10. One of the most boring movies I've seen all year. But with that said, and guys, this is the official end of the video if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever. You can click off here. 3, 2, 1, penguins, as I used to say before I just gave up on having spoiler segments in my videos. But like, I gotta do it here. Are you ready? It's time to answer the question on everyone's minds. Was Tamatoa in the movie? See, I only thought they would do it if he was in the mid-credit scene, because I didn't see any scenario in which they returned to him during the main plot. Overall, though, I didn't really care that much. I mean, after all, I own the rights to Tamatoa anyway, so it's not like Disney could legally use him even if they wanted to. But with that said, did they circumvent copyright law and find a way to include him in the mid-credit scene anyway? Yes, they did! Oh my god! Yes! I leaned all the way up in my chair, my mouth was open, he sang a little song about his funny crab legs, the writing on him was completely consistent with the first film, oh my god! Yes! It was the best moment of my entire life! So yeah, just for that, I'm giving this movie 1 billion kajillion trillion out of 10. But it was also very dull, and Disney is definitely gonna gut their main studio sometime in the next 10 years if it makes a lot of money, so don't watch it.